So here's a thought for you. Do you leave a bad review or do you leave a good review? Or if you've had bad service, do you just not leave a review? That's a conundrum that I've got this morning. I don't personally like leaving bad reviews because I know how hard it is for people within the hospitality sector. But rudeness is just, it's one of those things that I dislike. But when you're on holiday, say, and you go to somewhere it relies on tourists. Do you go onto TripAdvisor? Do you read the reviews? Do you go into Facebook groups to ask about places? It's just, tell me in the comments. And I know there's a lot of Facebook groups for a lot of restaurants and things in different areas, but do you rely on them? Because let's face it, social media could be full of all sorts of crazies these days. Or do you rely on TripAdvisor, or do you just go with the flow? It'd be interesting to let you know. And then there's the whole tipping culture, because Spanish don't tip as a culture. They just don't do it. You do see, obviously in touristy areas, you see a lot of people tipping. Obviously, holidaymakers like to tip and everything. But a lot of the little Spanish bars that you go to very rarely tip. But with that being said, if you're going on holiday, if you are on holiday and you have good service, do you go on to Google? Do you leave a review on Google? Do you go on to TripAdvisor? Do you leave a review on TripAdvisor? And do you leave good reviews or bad reviews? And if you've had bad service, and I don't mean like maybe the food's not been what you expected, or it's maybe just the staff having an off day and they're a bit snippy. There is always that. But I mean, when you go, for instance, this morning I went somewhere and just to grab, and I didn't have change. And it was a large note. It was a €50, and I was like, sorry, it's the smallest thing I've got. It's totally threw a tizzy. The fact that I only had a €50 note, and you're thinking, wait a minute, it's not my fault I've only got a 50. The fucking bank machine spat it out. That's all they had. And I was like, look, pay the card. Oh no, and then she went off on a big rant. Having a total rant about the fact that the bank takes money off her. But that's called having a business, and yeah, I get that. I mean, when I had the business back home in Edinburgh, 99% of customers paid by card. 99% of customers paid by card. There was very few. I mean, I could go back to 2010 when it was all cash. When it was around about, I would say 90% of the business was all cash. That was the heyday. But in this day and age, in 2025, going into 2027, I mean, most banks, most businesses should be accepting cards. And if they haven't priced things accordingly, and if they haven't priced into the cost of the running of the business, factored in the 3%, or what, I mean 3% is massive. If it's 3%, they need to be changing card provider and card machine provider. Because I mean, when I ran the business back home, I was paying 2.8%, and I thought that was crazy at the time. I changed card machine thingy to 1.6%, I think it was sum up at the time. Anyway, just your thoughts on a Friday. The weather is a little bit overcast now. It was raining this morning. Oh, and big news coming out of Malaga last night, that there was RyanAir flights. RyanAir flights weren't allowed to land in Malaga. I slept right through it. I didn't know, it must have been later on the flights. But I was reading in the paper this morning, one of the online papers, that flights from Malaga, because of the thunderstorms, were diverted from Malaga up to Alicante and to Valencia. Imagine getting off the plane and you're like, oh, we've now landed at Alicante or Valencia. You're like, ah, what the hell? You'd have, I mean, if it was Valencia, you'd have a 6-hour bus journey. Could you imagine that? You're going to, mind you, you're not flying RyanAir if you're going to Marbella, are you? Let's face it. You're not really flying into Malaga to go down to Marbella. It's private jet stuff, isn't it? Here's a thought. Does anyone that goes, here's a thought. Does anyone that watches the channel go to Marbella? And if they do they fly RyanAir? Nothing against RyanAir, I love them. They were the only company, this is an interesting fact that you might not know. They were the only company during 2020, during lockdown, to never cancel a flight. We were on flights in 2020 where there were only about 15 people on the flight. It was great. The staff were just like, just give us a shout if you want anything. Champagne, we're popping champagne and everything because we're moving, obviously. But anyway, that was the big news today, that there were flights. I see blue skies now. I see blue sky. That's a different song. Anyway, so tell me in the comment section, do you leave a good review or a bad review? And if you fly into Malaga and you're going to Marbella, do you fly RyanAir? And what is the longest journey that you've ever had to make from an airport to your destination? Because even if they flew into Alicante, if they were diverted, seemingly there was a Stansted flight that was going to Malaga that was diverted to Alicante, and there was other ones diverted to Valencia. What's the longest transfer that you've had from the airport? 5 hours is extreme, isn't it? I mean, that's crazy. I mean, that's like me driving from Edinburgh way past Manchester. Way past Manchester. I mean, I think it only takes around about 3.5 hours to get from Edinburgh to Manchester. That's bonkers. Anyway, that's me for this morning. It's Karen's way getting her hair done. That's why I'm doing a quick video in the car. I'm just waiting her to pick her up. And I think we're going to go out for a bit of lunch. Friday's day off day. Day libre, as far as she's concerned. And as for the weather, it was obviously, well, it must have been horrendous last night, and I slept through it all. But it's a bit wet this morning. The clouds are breaking. It was forecast rain, but there we go, it's not raining. Anyway, see you in the next one.